you're the full life cycle of a product. So you have to embrace change. You have to always be ready for something new and be ready to think of new approaches of things and constantly seeking ways to improve the team and the process.
You are listening to This is Product Marketing, brought to you by Product Marketing Hive, the product marketing community that gives back. I'm your host, Louise Liu. Product Marketing Hive and this podcast are supported by Product Marketing Edge, a technology product marketing consulting firm. In this episode, Dirk Nicol, Senior Director of Product Marketing at Corcentric, shares his experience of building and growing the product marketing team. Let's dive into it right now. Hi Dirk, welcome to the show.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks so much.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into product marketing?
Sure. So currently I'm with an organization called Corcentric, which does B2B commerce solutions from procurement all the way to invoicing customers. And before that, I was with a company called IOG that did cryptocurrency and blockchain. And I led the product marketing effort there also. Before that, I was with IBM, did a variety of different roles from engineering to product management to product marketing, developer relations. And I think all those experiences have come together to really highlight my kind of career path around product marketing, which I really enjoy. I really think product marketing is kind of one of the most essential roles in companies today, in growth companies. If you want to grow your company, product marketing is an essential role. So I'm excited to be part of that career and that role in the industry.
So you are currently the Senior Director of Product Marketing at Corcentric. Can you tell us a little bit more about your role and your responsibilities?
It's a bit of a broader role in that not only do we have the product marketing function, and it's divided by product marketing focused on different products that we have, but I also have the analyst relations team within my organization and also all of our content development as part of our organization too. So within that remit of my department, my organization, we cover both product marketing, analyst relations, and content.
That's interesting. I usually see content sitting alongside the product marketing team.
Yeah, I think before I joined, content was separate. But I think what they realized was that bringing it under product marketing was important to drive greater synergy, since a lot of the messaging and positioning and content direction was coming from product marketing. So having that organization aligned. I think also my previous background at IBM, I led our developer works for developer relations website and web program, our digital experience for developers. And as part of that, I ran all the content and website delivery. And so as a result of that, I think that was also part of it, that I've had that background.
There are product marketing teams being structured by products, by industries, and so on. Can you tell us what are the typical variations you've seen and give us a quick overview?
Yeah, sure. So in building teams, there's a couple different ways of looking at it. It's always a function of the organization and your product portfolio and existing skills on the team. But one obvious one is aligned by product, having dedicated product marketing managers that focus on a particular product or set of products that are similar, allows the product marketing manager to go deep in the product, become an expert in the product, that understands the ins and outs of the customers around that product. That's usually the way that I do it, and it often works well with a limited team too. And you can form a very strong partnership with product manager, because product manager is usually aligned with set also. So that works. The other one is by discipline. We kind of touched that a little bit as I would talk about having content within my team and analyst relations. Competitive analysis or market research is another discipline that's often in product marketing. So you can do it by kind of functional role. So in my team, I have a bit of a mix. I have dedicated product marketers by product, and then I also have some functional roles, analyst relations and content. Another way of doing it is potentially a industry focus. So if your product set is very centralized around a particular industry, that you could organize around the customers and focus areas within that particular industry or segment. And that often is a good approach. Because at the end of the day, product marketing, you really want to align with the customer, be the voice of the customer. Related to that is also by channel. You could do it by channel. If there's a particular partner channel, for example, having product marketers aligned around that approach is also a way of doing it. So those are the several ways of doing it. Like I have in my organization, you can do a mix of those. I think it's really primarily a function of the company and the product set. If the company is heavily focused on a particular industry or has several industries but are very deep in that, there can be a value in having that product marketer focus on a product set within that industry. That could work well, particularly if that's the channel and the go-to-market approach that your company has. But if you're primarily a product-focused company, leading by product makes the most sense. And then secondarily, you could have industry-focused efforts around that.
You are organizing product marketing teams by products. How do you manage product marketing resources across the product line? What are the main considerations here?
So yeah, that's a good question. I think if I were to assign products to a particular product marketing manager, I think it makes sense to group it by the customer set or the channel or go-to-market approach. So for example, in the company that I work now, Corcentric, we have a set of products, but they're grouped by a particular function of our customer. So one function that we sell to is procurement team at a company. We also have a set of products that support the other side of the business that actually collects money from customers through invoices and so forth. So we have a set of products. So I group one product marketing manager on the source to pay side and another on the order to cash side.
Could you share some insights into the strategies that you used to scale the product marketing team at IBM?
Yeah, so at IBM, as you start to think about scaling teams, there's a couple of different things to think about. One is, often in our industry, in our profession, you're sort of dropped into product marketing. Maybe you're the first product marketer, or maybe you have a small team, and you're often very much overloaded and trying to get your head above water, while at the same time trying to learn. It's important to think about getting successes, getting results, picking your opportunities to get early wins, because as you start to get wins and success, you can prove out the product marketing function. Upper management will start to notice, and that's the path to getting more investment. I think another part is clear communications on what you're working on, and part of that is roles and responsibilities, and making sure it's clear what is it that you're delivering and the impact you're having, and also what you're not able to deliver because you don't have enough resources. And if you had resources, what outcomes would you be able to have? So this methodology of kind of laddering up, showing success, articulating your value, showing what else you could do if you had more investment, is a way for a product marketing leader to start to scale your team and get investment within your organization. I think also hiring the right talent, and that's a process of building a good network and being part of a good community like PMM Hive, and being able to network with your peers, and when opportunities come up in the organization, getting the right PMM as part of your team. And then I think also, building that chain of success, building your reputation in the company as making an impact. And then as you build your team, making sure they're educated in the right skill set, making sure that they're successful. That comes down to kind of people management, making sure that every employee has a development plan, that they have a career path, help them stay motivated by, having a vision for your organization that has an impact on the overall company and delivers results.
What are the biggest challenges that you ran into while scaling out the product marketing team?
Yeah, sure. I think one of them is just getting your head above water. I mean, it seems like everything goes through product marketing. Once you've established yourself as the role, pretty much everybody, whether it's sales or engineering or product design, everybody's like, oh, let's just make sure product marketing is involved and make sure they do their piece of this. So you get high demand on your time and responsibility. So I think that's one big challenge, that you have to set expectations, deliver on what you say you're going to deliver on, and show the results and communicate that internally. I think the other big challenge is establishing roles and responsibilities, make sure that's clear, and then have an ongoing communication and cadence with your stakeholders, making sure everybody's up to date and on what you're working on and the results that you're delivering, because product marketing is the kind of connective tissue between all these different organizational functions.
During your time at IBM, one of the leadership roles that you had was the director of developer marketing. Can you tell us a little bit more about it and its relations with product marketing in that context?
Yeah, it's an interesting story. So this really came about around this need. IBM primarily go-to-market was through face-to-face sellers. And what we discovered a while back, but was that wasn't always the most effective way to go to market as the internet, as cloud, as some of the new technologies came out, because developers are becoming much more influential in IT decisions. We were going through face-to-face sales at the C-suite, and when we get close to closing a deal, the CFO or COO would say, let's go check with the developers and see what they think. And if the developers didn't know anything about your product, then your deal would be stalled. So that's where one of the things I did is started the kind of developer relations effort at IBM to start building community and relationship with developers in parallel to our kind of direct face-to-face efforts. And so building that out was critical, and that involved content, websites, programs, marketing, events, a whole slew of kind of go-to-market activities to build those relationships and inform and educate. And with product marketing, the key aspect of what we did with developer marketing that and product marketing associated with that was unique was we weren't leading with features and functions of the product. We were leading with value, tutorials, education, helping developers get their job done. And we did that through classes and workshops, and we didn't always lead with the IBM story. We often led from a technology standpoint, like how do you learn blockchain? What's the latest techniques with Linux or cloud computing? And then we would start talking about our products after we provided value. And so that approach of value-based education and go-to-market was a unique aspect of our product marketing and developer marketing approach. And the other thing that's really important is that what's unique about developers is they're very community-centric. Like if their peers are using it, or if somebody else they know is using it, then they'll try it, right? If you start to sell them on the product, they're just not going to be interested. They're never going to talk to a salesperson. They're never going to talk to a marketing person. In fact, when you try to market to developers, you can't really market to them in a classic sense. You have to create value for them, and they want to talk to other developers. They don't want to talk to marketing people. So everything you do from a content, communication, web experience, it has to be developer to developer, because the persona of a developer, the way they think, is they're very suspicious of sales and marketing. They don't have time for that. It's all fluff to them. They care about coding. And if you don't have the chops and the technical know-how, then they don't even want to waste their time with you. So
how did you approach talent acquisition and development within the product marketing team?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all depends on the role that you have in the product set. I mean, there may be, for example, some capabilities that your organization lacks. Maybe, for example, there's some data analytics skills that are really important. So that's a type of skill that you want product marketing management skill, but also data analytics. So it kind of depends on like what are the gaps you have in your organization. So, setting those out. I think another important part is being active in the community. For me as a leader, kind of building a personal brand, being active in PMM communities like PMM Hive, and being active on LinkedIn. That tends to attract people who might want to work for or with you. And so that's really helpful. I think, building a reputation as a manager that takes care of their people, that is in an organization that has a good, clear career path, provides education, that often can attract people within a company that say, hey, look, I that guy's got a good reputation, or she really takes care of her people. I'd love to be able to work in that organization. So that's another way of, through your reputation, kind of attract people.
So, in your opinion, what is a good mindset to have for product marketers seeing the role of product marketing evolves while the company is growing?
Yeah, I think one is continuous learning. The field is constantly changing. There's a lot to learn, lots of variety of different roles and responsibilities within product marketing, from pricing, competitive analysis, go-to-market, positioning, messaging, a whole slew of things. So continuous learning and kind of building your craft. The other thing is clear is that since you're operating from product concept to launch to post-launch, even sunsetting products, you're the full life cycle of a product. So you have to embrace change. You have to always be ready for something new and be ready to think of new approaches to things and constantly seeking ways to improve the team and the process. But I think fundamentally, as a product marketing manager, you're the voice of the customer. And so having that deep, constant pulse of the customer through interviews, being involved in the customer communities, voice of customer program, all those sort of things, make sure that you're listening to the sales calls, is really understanding and being the advocate for your customers critical.
Any final thoughts you would like to share?
McKinsey came out with a report on product marketing managers, and it was a fantastic article that they've surveyed all these different companies to figure out what is unique about growth companies that are successful, high revenue, and which ones are not. And the common factor was a successful product marketing. So I think that's just validation that we are in a great career, great role in the industry, and it's going to continue to grow as more and more companies realize that their key to success is through product marketing managers, because the go-to-market, the complexity of the industry, the software, competition, the complexity of what customers expect, you have to really craft the way you take it to market. And the complexity and the competition is making the role of product marketing managers critical. I think the other thing is that because it's so critical, and as the demand starts to grow and there's limited skills, that the ability to scale you as an individual is going to be critical. And I think that's where the proper adoption of AI, prompt engineering, all the tools, whether they're generative AI for images or videos or content, getting on top of that is going to be key. And then the bread and butter of just being the central advocate for the customer on an ongoing basis is kind of where the buck stops. You really need to set yourself up as a priority, staying in touch, talking to, going to events, spending time with customers, because it's very easy to get distracted by all the work and all the tasks and the processes. So always remember to go back to the customer and spend time with them. So those are some top of thoughts for me.
Great. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to This is Product Marketing, brought to you by Product Marketing Hive, a product marketing community that gives back. Check out our website, productmarketinghive.com, to join our community, meet fellow product marketers, and access free resources. If you enjoyed our podcast, please subscribe and give a 5-star rating on the platform of your choice. See you next time.